Every human being is shaped by patterns of thinking that develop slowly over time. These patterns are not created in a single day, and they do not disappear overnight. They are built through experiences, environment, failures, successes, and repeated behaviors. Many people move through life without ever questioning their mindset. They accept their thoughts as reality. They believe that who they are today is who they will always be. But the truth is different. Your mindset is not fixed. It is flexible. It can be trained, reshaped, and completely rewired through consistent habits. This is not a motivational idea meant only to make you feel good. It is a reality supported by human behavior and experience. The brain adapts based on repetition. What you think and do every day becomes who you are. If you repeatedly focus on fear, you become more fearful. If you repeatedly take action, you become more confident. If you constantly doubt yourself, you weaken your ability to grow. If you train yourself to think differently, you create a new direction in life. The problem is not that people lack potential. The problem is that they follow negative habits without realizing it. They delay action. They overthink. They compare themselves with others. They avoid responsibility. They stay comfortable even when they are unhappy. These patterns slowly build a mindset that limits growth. But just as negative habits shape your mind, positive habits can rebuild it. This transformation does not require a perfect life or ideal conditions. It requires awareness, effort, and consistency. There will be days when change feels slow. There will be moments when old habits try to pull you back. There will be situations that test your patience. That is part of the process. Real growth is not dramatic. It is quiet and steady. It happens when you choose discipline over excuses, when you act even when you feel uncertain, when you focus on progress instead of perfection. This journey is not about becoming someone completely different. It is about becoming a better version of who you already are. The habits in this book are not theories. They are practical ways of thinking and acting that have helped people move forward in real life. Each habit works like a small shift on its own. It may not seem powerful, but when practiced daily, it creates a chain reaction. Over time, your thinking changes. Your behavior improves. Your confidence grows. Your direction becomes clearer. This is how a mindset is rewired, not in one big moment, but through many small, consistent decisions. As you move through each chapter, you will notice a pattern. Every habit connects with the next. Each one strengthens the foundation for the others. You are not expected to master everything at once. You are expected to start, because the moment you become aware of your mindset, you gain the power to change it, and that is where everything begins. First habit, the habit of taking responsibility. There comes a point in life where excuses begin to feel comfortable. They protect you from discomfort and failure. They give you a temporary sense of relief, but they also quietly hold you back. Taking responsibility is one of the most powerful habits you can build, because it shifts your position in life from passive to active. When you avoid responsibility, you give control of your life to circumstances. When you accept responsibility, you take that control back. This habit is not about blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It is about recognizing that your response to every situation is always in your control. Many people misunderstand responsibility. They think it means accepting fault for things they did not cause. That is not the case. Life is not always fair. Situations can be difficult and sometimes completely outside your control, but even in those situations, you still control your decisions, your reactions, your effort, and that is where real power lies. Consider a student who fails an important exam. One student says the paper was too hard, the teacher was unfair, the system is broken. He repeats these thoughts again and again. These thoughts give him comfort because they remove pressure from him, but they also remove his ability to improve. Another student in the same situation chooses a different approach. He accepts that the result was not good and begins to analyze what went wrong. He identifies weak areas, changes his study method, and prepares again. Both students face the same failure, but only one used responsibility as a tool for growth. This is the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Taking responsibility forces you to look at reality clearly. It removes illusions and replaces them with awareness. At first, this can feel uncomfortable because it requires honesty. You have to admit when you wasted time, when you avoided effort, when you made poor decisions. But this discomfort is not a weakness. It is the starting point of improvement. Without awareness, there is no direction. Without direction, there is no progress. Responsibility also builds confidence in a unique way when you know that your actions influence your results. You begin to trust yourself more. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, you create your own opportunities instead of depending on others. You start relying on your own effort over time. This builds a strong internal belief that no matter what happens, you can find a way forward in real life. This habit shows itself in simple situations. A person who is late every day may blame traffic or timing, but when they take responsibility, they adjust their routine. A person who struggles financially may blame the economy or lack of opportunities, but when they take responsibility, they start learning new skills and managing money better. A person who feels stuck in life may blame circumstances, but when they take responsibility, they begin to take small actions toward change. Responsibility does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees movement, and movement is what creates change. One important aspect of this habit is consistency. Taking responsibility once is easy. Maintaining it every day is what transforms your mindset. There will be moments when it feels easier to blame others. There will be situations where excuses seem justified. But every time you choose responsibility, you strengthen this habit over time. It becomes natural. You stop reacting emotionally to problems and start responding with clarity. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to improve instead of obstacles that stop you. This shift may seem small, but it changes everything, because the moment you fully accept responsibility for your life, you stop waiting, and when you stop waiting, you start building. This is why taking responsibility is the first habit. It creates the foundation for every other change you want to make. Without it, growth becomes random and inconsistent. With it, growth becomes intentional and steady. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Second habit, the habit of controlling your thoughts. Your life is deeply influenced by something you cannot see. Your thoughts. Every day your mind produces thousands of thoughts. Some are helpful, some are negative, some are based on fear, doubt, or past experiences. Most people never question these thoughts. They accept them as truth. And not every thought you have is real or useful. The habit of controlling your thoughts begins with awareness. It starts when you realize that your mind is a tool, not a master. If you let your thoughts run without control, they can limit your growth. They can create fear where there is opportunity. They can create doubt where there is potential. But when you learn to guide your thoughts, you begin to shape your reality. This does not mean forcing yourself to think positive all the time. It means choosing thoughts that are useful and constructive. Consider a person who wants to try something new, maybe starting a business or learning a skill. Before they even begin, their mind starts creating resistance. Thoughts like, what if I fail? What will people say? I am not good enough. These thoughts are accepted without question. They stop action now. Imagine the same person choosing to respond differently. They acknowledge the fear, but do not let it control them. They replace the thought with something more useful. I will learn as I go. Every expert was once a beginner. Trying is better than staying stuck. The situation has not changed, but the mindset has, and that changes the outcome. Controlling your thoughts also means managing negative patterns. Many people get stuck in cycles of overthinking. They replay past mistakes again and again. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They focus on problems instead of solutions. This drains energy and reduces confidence. Breaking this pattern requires effort. One effective way is to pause and question your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is it based on facts or fear? What is a better way to look at this situation? This simple practice creates distance between you and your thoughts. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin to respond consciously. Real life example: a young man named Farhane applied for multiple jobs and faced rejection. After each rejection, his thoughts became more negative. He started believing that he was not capable. Instead of continuing this pattern, he made a change. Every time a negative thought appeared, he wrote it down. Then he challenged it. If the thought was "I am not good enough," he replaced it with "I need to improve my skills and try again." This did not change his situation overnight, but it changed his approach. He kept applying, improving, and learning. Eventually, he got hired. His success was not just because of effort. It was because he refused to let negative thoughts control his actions. Another important part of this habit is focus. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. If you constantly focus on problems, your mind becomes heavier. If you focus on solutions, your mind becomes more active and creative. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing where to place your mental energy. For example, two people face the same challenge. One keeps thinking about how difficult it is. The other focuses on what can be done step by step. The second person moves forward, while the first stays stuck. Controlling your thoughts is not about perfection. You will still have negative thoughts. You will still feel doubt and fear. That is normal. Difference is that you do not let those thoughts define your actions. You observe them, you question them, and then you choose your response. Over time, this creates a powerful shift. Your mind becomes calmer, your decisions become clearer, your confidence becomes stronger. You stop being controlled by temporary emotions and start acting with intention. This habit requires practice. At first, it may feel difficult to notice your thoughts, but with time, awareness grows, and once you become aware, you gain control. This is how your mindset begins to change, not by eliminating negative thoughts completely, but by learning how to manage them. Because in the end, your thoughts create your direction, and your direction creates your life. Third habit, the habit of daily discipline. There is a common belief that success comes from motivation. People wait to feel inspired before they begin. They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Discipline is what remains. Habit of daily discipline is what turns goals into reality. It is the ability to take action, even when you do not feel like it, even when you are tired, distracted, or not in the mood. This is where most people struggle. They start with excitement, they make plans, set goals, and feel ready. But when the initial energy fades, they stop. They tell themselves they will start again. Later days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Nothing changes. Discipline works differently. It does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you decide it is. Built through small, consistent actions repeated every day. Consider a student preparing for exams. Student studies only when he feels motivated. Some days he works hard. Other days he does nothing. His progress is inconsistent. Another student creates a simple routine. He studies a fixed number of hours every day. Even when he feels tired, he still sits down and studies. Some days are productive. Some days are slow, but he shows up at the end of the month. His progress is far greater. This is the power of discipline. It removes the need to constantly decide. It turns effort into a habit. Daily discipline is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about showing up regularly. Even small efforts matter. Reading a few pages every day, practicing a skill for a short time, taking small steps toward a goal. These actions may seem minor, but over time, they create significant results. Important truth about discipline is that it feels difficult in the beginning. Your mind resists change. It looks for comfort and ease. When you try to build a new habit, your mind may tell you to skip just for today. This is where discipline is tested. Every time you choose action over excuses, you strengthen this habit. Every time you give in to delay, you weaken it. Real life Example: a young man named Ahmed wanted to improve his physical health. He joined a gym with strong motivation. The first week was easy. The second week became harder. By the third week, he felt like quitting. Instead of stopping, he made a simple rule. He would go to the gym every day, even if he only stayed for a short time. Some days, he worked hard. Other days, he just showed up and did minimal exercise. But he did not break the habit. After a few months, it became part of his routine. He no longer needed motivation. His body improved, but more importantly, his mindset changed. He became more consistent in other areas of life as well. This is how discipline spreads. When you build it in one area, it starts influencing others. Another important part of discipline is managing distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere: social media, entertainment, and constant notifications. These things are not harmful by themselves, but without control, they consume your time and attention. Discipline helps you set boundaries. It allows you to focus on what matters instead of what is easy. For example, a person trying to learn a new skill may spend hours scrolling instead of practicing, but when discipline is applied, they create a specific time for learning. They reduce distractions. They stay focused over time. This creates real progress. Discipline also builds self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you begin to trust your own decisions. You repeatedly break those promises, you lose confidence in yourself. This is why small commitments matter. If you decide to do something, follow through even if it is small, because discipline is not built through big actions. It is built through consistent ones. It is also important to understand that discipline does not mean working all the time. Rest is part of discipline. Taking care of your energy, health, and mental state is necessary. True discipline is balanced. It includes effort and recovery. Over time, the habit of daily discipline changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who depends on motivation. You start seeing yourself as someone who takes action. This shift is powerful because once you become consistent, you become unstoppable. In the long run, results may not appear immediately, but they will come, because discipline guarantees progress, and progress always leads to change. Fourth habit, the habit of gratitude. In daily life, it is easy to focus on what is missing, what is not working, what others have that you do not. This way of thinking slowly creates dissatisfaction. Even if your life is stable or improving, you may still feel unhappy. Habit of gratitude changes this perspective. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems. It is about recognizing value in what already exists in your life. When you practice gratitude, your attention shifts. Instead of constantly searching for what is lacking, you begin to notice what is present. This simple shift has a deep effect on your mindset. Many people believe they will feel grateful after achieving success, after earning more money, after reaching a certain level in life. But in reality, gratitude works in the opposite direction. When you become grateful first, you develop a mindset that allows you to grow with clarity and peace. Consider a person who constantly compares their life with others. They see someone with a better job, a better house, a more comfortable lifestyle. Instead of feeling inspired, they feel inadequate. This comparison creates stress and lowers motivation. Now, imagine the same person choosing a different approach. They begin to appreciate their current situation, their ability to work, their health, their family support. This does not remove their goals, but it removes the constant feeling of lack. They begin to move forward with a calmer and more focused mind. Real life example. Woman named Hina felt stuck in her life. She believed she was not progressing fast enough. Days she focused on what she had not achieved. This made her feel frustrated and tired. One day, she started a simple practice. Every morning, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. At first, it felt small and unimportant, but she continued. She noticed simple things: a supportive friend, a stable job, good health. After a few weeks, her mindset began to change. She felt less stressed, more focused. more positive about her future. Her situation had not changed immediately, but her way of thinking had, and that changed how she approached life. Gratitude also helps in difficult times. When you face challenges, it is natural to feel overwhelmed, but even in those moments, there are things that remain valuable. Recognizing them does not solve the problem instantly, but it gives you strength to deal with it. For example, someone facing financial difficulties may still have skills, opportunities, or supportive people around them. Focusing on these aspects creates hope, and hope leads to action. Another important part of gratitude is presence. When you are always focused on the future, you miss the value of the present. You keep thinking that happiness will come later, but life is happening now. Gratitude brings your attention to the present moment. It allows you to experience life more fully. Simple moments become meaningful daily routines. Feel lighter. You become more aware of what you have instead of what you lack. This does not reduce ambition. It strengthens it, because you are no longer chasing success out of frustration. You are moving toward it with clarity. Gratitude also improves relationships. When you appreciate people in your life, you treat them differently. You become more patient, more understanding, more connected. This creates stronger bonds. For example, a person who takes their family for granted may feel distant and disconnected, but when they start recognizing the support and presence of their family, their attitude changes. They communicate better. They show respect. They build stronger relationships. This is the impact of gratitude in everyday life. Building this habit does not require major effort. It can start with small actions, taking a moment each day to reflect on what is going well, expressing appreciation to others, acknowledging small positive aspects of your life. These actions may seem simple, but they create a powerful shift over time. Gratitude does not remove challenges. It changes how you experience them. Instead of feeling constantly dissatisfied, you feel balanced. Instead of focusing only on problems, you see possibilities. Over time, this habit rewires your mindset. You become more content, yet more driven, more calm, yet more focused. This balance is important because true growth does not come from constant pressure. Comes from steady progress with a clear and positive mindset. Gratitude helps create that mindset, and once it becomes part of your daily life, you begin to see things differently, not because life has become perfect, but because your perspective has changed. Fifth habit, the habit of learning every day. The world does not stay the same. It changes constantly. New skills emerge, new opportunities appear, new challenges developing. This changing environment, one habit becomes essential. The habit of learning every day. Many people believe learning is limited to school or university. They think once formal education ends, learning also stops. But in reality, learning is a lifelong process. Those who continue to learn continue to grow. Those who stop learning slowly become limited in their thinking and opportunities. Learning does not always mean studying for hours. It means staying curious. It means being open to new ideas. It means improving your knowledge and skills step by step. This habit rewires your mindset by shifting you from a fixed way of thinking to a growth-oriented approach. Instead of saying, "I already know enough," you begin to think there is always more to understand. This keeps your mind active and adaptable. Consider two individuals working in the same field. One person relies only on what they already know. They perform their tasks, but do not try to improve. The other person keeps learning. They read, watch, listen, and practice. Over time, the second person becomes more skilled, more confident, and more valuable. The difference is not talent. It is the habit of continuous learning. Real life example, a young man named Salman worked in a small office. His job was repetitive and offered limited growth. Instead of accepting this situation, he decided to learn new skills in his free time. He started with basic computer skills, then moved to more advanced tools. He spent 1 hour every day learning. At first, progress was slow. There were moments of confusion and frustration, but he continued. After several months, he became more efficient in his work. He started taking on new responsibilities eventually. He found better opportunities. His life changed not because of luck, because he chose to keep learning also builds confidence. When you understand more, you feel more capable and certainty becomes easier to handle. Challenges feel less overwhelming. For example, a person who understands basic financial management will feel more confident handling money compared to someone who avoids learning about it. Knowledge reduces fear. Another important aspect of learning is adaptability. Life often presents unexpected changes, new technologies, new environments, new responsibilities. You are used to learning, you adjust more easily. Instead of resisting change, you explore it. This mindset is valuable in every area of life. Learning also improves decision-making. When you have more information and understanding, you make better choices. You can analyze situations more clearly. You can avoid common mistakes. You can plan more effectively. For example, a person who studies business basics will make better financial decisions than someone who acts without knowledge. The habit of learning creates awareness. It allows you to see possibilities that you may have ignored before. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach start to feel achievable. Building this habit does not require special conditions. It can begin with small, consistent actions. Reading a few pages of a book, watching educational content, practicing a skill, asking questions and seeking answers. The key is consistency. Even a small amount of learning every day creates progress over time. One important challenge in this habit is patience. Learning takes time. You may not see immediate results. At times it may feel slow or difficult. Every bit of knowledge adds up, just like discipline. Learning is a long-term investment. The effort you put in today creates opportunities in the future. Another important part of learning is application. Knowledge alone is not enough. You need to use what you learn. Practice strengthens understanding. It turns information into skill. For example, learning a language requires speaking, not just reading. Learning a technical skill requires doing, not just watching. When you apply what you learn, your confidence grows and your progress becomes visible over time. The habit of learning changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone limited by current knowledge. You start seeing yourself as someone who can improve and adapt. This shift is powerful because it removes the fear of being stuck. You begin to trust that no matter what situation you face, you can learn your way through. If this mindset opens doors, it creates growth in career, personal life, and thinking. It keeps you moving forward even when conditions are not perfect. The long run, the habit of learning every day becomes one of the strongest tools for success, because knowledge builds ability, ability creates opportunity, and opportunity leads to progress. Sixth habit, the habit of surrounding yourself with the right people, the people around you have a powerful influence on your mindset, even when you are not aware of it. Their attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors slowly shape the way you think, the way you see opportunities, the way you respond to challenges. This influence is often subtle. It happens through daily conversations, shared experiences, and repeated exposure. If you spend most of your time around negativity, you begin to think in a negative way. If you are surrounded by growth-oriented people, your mindset starts to expand. This is why the habit of surrounding yourself with the right people is so important. That does not mean you have to leave everyone behind. It means becoming aware of who is influencing your thinking. Consider two different environments. In one group, people constantly complain. They talk about problems, blame others, and avoid responsibility. In another group, people discuss ideas. They focus on solutions, share knowledge, and encourage progress. Spending time in the first environment can make you feel stuck. Spending time in the second can push you to grow. Real-life example: a young man named Adnan spent most of his time with friends who had no clear goals. Their conversations were mostly about entertainment and daily complaints. Over time, he felt unmotivated and directionless. One day, he joined a small community focused on learning and personal development. The discussions were different. People talked about skills, business ideas, and improvement. At first, Adnan felt uncomfortable. He realized how limited his thinking had been, but he stayed slowly. His mindset began to change. He started setting goals. He became more disciplined. He focused on growth. His environment had shifted, and that changed his direction. This does not mean that the first group was bad people. They simply had a different mindset. The key is understanding that your environment shapes your habits. Another important aspect is the type of conversations you engage in. Conversations are not just words. They are exchanges of ideas and perspectives. If your conversations are always about problems and negativity, your mind becomes focused on limitations. If your conversations include ideas, learning, and solutions, your mind becomes more creative and active. You begin to think differently. 4. Example: discussing new opportunities or skills can inspire action. While constant complaining can reduce motivation, the right people also challenge you. They do not always agree with you. They encourage you to improve. They point out areas where you can grow. This may feel uncomfortable at times, but it is necessary for progress. Growth rarely happens in complete comfort. Another important point is that you do not always need a large circle. Even a few positive influences can make a big difference. These can be friends, mentors, teachers, or even people you learn from indirectly. Books, online content, and educational platforms can also become part of your environment. What matters is the quality of influence. For example, a person who regularly listens to educational content or reads meaningful books is surrounding their mind with positive input. This also shapes thinking over time. It is also important to protect your mindset. Not every environment is helpful. Some situations involve constant negativity, criticism, or discouragement. In such cases, it becomes necessary to create boundaries. This does not mean disrespecting others. It means protecting your mental space. Spending less time in negative environments and more time in positive ones can make a significant difference. Over time, this habit changes how you see yourself. When you are around people who aim for growth, you begin to believe that improvement is possible. You start setting higher standards for yourself. You become more aware of your potential. This shift is powerful because it affects your actions, decisions, and long-term direction. It is also important to remember that influence works both ways. Just as others affect you, you also affect them. When you develop a positive mindset, you can become a source of encouragement for others. Your actions can inspire people around you. This creates a cycle of growth. Building this habit requires awareness and choice. You may not always be able to control every environment, but you can control where you spend most of your time and attention. Choosing the right people does not guarantee immediate success, but it creates a supportive foundation. It makes growth easier and more natural in the long run. Your environment becomes a reflection of your mindset, and your mindset becomes a reflection of your environment. When both align with growth, progress becomes steady and meaningful. 7th habit: the habit of taking action despite fear. Fear is a natural part of life. It appears whenever you step outside your comfort zone, whenever you try something new, whenever the outcome is uncertain. Most people wait for fear to disappear before they take action. They believe confidence must come first, but this belief keeps them stuck. The truth is simple. Fear does not go away on its own. It reduces only when you act. The habit of taking action despite fear is what separates those who grow from those who remain in the same place. Fear often creates hesitation. It fills your mind with questions. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if things go wrong? These thoughts feel real and powerful. They create doubt and delay. If you keep listening to them, you never begin. Now consider a different approach. Instead of waiting for certainty, you accept that fear is part of the process. You take action anyway. This is where change begins. Real-life example. A young woman named Mehak wanted to start her own small business. She had ideas and plans, but fear stopped her. She worried about failure. She worried about what others would think. For months, she did nothing. One day, she decided to take a small step. She started with a simple online page. It was not perfect. She felt nervous and unsure, but she continued. At first, there were very few results, but with time she improved, learned, and adapted. Her confidence grew with each step. The fear did not disappear completely, but it no longer controlled her actions. This is how the habit works. You do not eliminate fear. You move forward with it. Another important aspect of this habit is understanding that fear is often exaggerated. Your mind tends to imagine worst-case scenarios. It tries to protect you from failure, but in doing so, it also prevents growth. When you take action, you begin to see reality more clearly. Many fears turn out to be smaller than they seemed. For example, speaking in front of people may feel overwhelming at first, but after doing it once, you realize it is manageable. Each action reduces the intensity of fear. This creates a cycle. Action builds experience. Experience builds confidence. Confidence reduces fear. Over time, you become more willing to take risks. Another key point is starting small. You do not need to take big steps. Immediately, small actions are enough to begin. If you are afraid of learning a new skill, start with a few minutes of practice. If you are afraid of meeting new people, start with simple conversations. If you are afraid of failure, start with low risk. Attempts. Each small step builds momentum, and momentum makes larger actions easier. This habit also teaches resilience. Not every action will lead to success. There will be mistakes and setbacks, but each experience teaches something valuable. Instead of seeing failure as an end, you begin to see it as part of learning. For example, a person applying for jobs may face rejection. If fear controls them, they stop trying, but if they continue taking action, they improve their approach. They learn from feedback. They increase their chances over time. This mindset turns obstacles into opportunities. Taking action despite fear also builds self-trust. When you repeatedly act, even when you feel uncertain, you prove to yourself that you are capable. This strengthens your belief in your ability to handle challenges. Over time, you stop depending on perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the right moment. You create your own opportunities through action. This is a powerful shift because life rarely provides perfect timing. Opportunities often come with uncertainty. Those who act move forward. Those who wait remain where they are. Building this habit requires awareness and courage. You need to recognize when fear is holding you back and make a conscious decision to move forward. It will not feel easy in the beginning. There will be discomfort, hesitation, and doubt. But each time you take action, you weaken the hold of fear and strengthen your mindset. In the long run, fear becomes less of a barrier and more of a signal that you are about to grow. When you reach this stage, you no longer see fear as something to avoid. You see it as something to move through. And that is when real progress begins. The habit of reflecting on your life. In the rush of daily life, many people keep moving without stopping. They work, they act, they react, but they rarely pause to think about what they are doing and why. Without reflection, life becomes repetitive. You may stay busy, but not necessarily move forward. The habit of reflecting on your life changes this pattern. Reflection means taking time to think about your actions, decisions, and experiences. It means looking at what is working and what is not. It means learning from the past instead of repeating it. This habit brings clarity. When you reflect, you begin to understand your own patterns. You notice where you make mistakes. You recognize what helps you grow. Without this awareness, improvement becomes difficult. Consider a person who keeps facing the same problems again and again. They may struggle in relationships. They may face repeated failures in work. They may feel stuck despite effort. If they never reflect, they continue doing the same things and get the same results. But when they begin to reflect, they start asking questions. What am I doing wrong? What can I do differently? What have I learned from this experience? These questions create insight, and insight leads to change real life. Example: a man named Zubair started a small business. He worked hard, but his business did not grow. He tried different ideas, but kept facing losses. First, he blamed the market and external conditions, but later, he decided to reflect on his approach. He reviewed his decisions, his planning, and his strategies. He realized that he had been making quick decisions without proper research. He also noticed that he was not managing his finances well. This reflection was uncomfortable, but it was necessary. After understanding his mistakes, he changed his approach. He planned carefully. He learned basic financial management. He made more informed decisions. Slowly, his situation improved. The change did not come from working harder. It came from thinking better. This is the power of reflection. Reflection also helps you understand your emotions. Many people react to situations without understanding why they feel anger, frustration, or disappointment, but they do not take time to analyze these feelings. When you reflect, you begin to recognize your emotional patterns. You understand what triggers certain reactions. You learn how to respond instead of react. For example, if you notice that you often feel frustrated in certain situations, reflection helps you identify the cause. It may be stress, lack of preparation, or unrealistic expectations. Once you understand the cause, you can take steps to manage it. This improves your emotional control. Another important benefit of reflection is direction. Without reflection, you may keep moving without a clear purpose. You may follow routines without questioning if they align with your goals. Reflection helps you stay aligned. It allows you to adjust your path when needed. For example, a person working in a job may feel unsatisfied. Without reflection, they may continue in the same situation for years, but when they take time to think, they may realize they want to learn new skills or explore different opportunities. This awareness can lead to meaningful change. Building the habit of reflection does not require complex methods. It can be simple and regular, taking a few minutes at the end of the day to think about what went well and what did not. Reviewing your actions and decisions. Writing down your thoughts. These small practices create awareness over time. One important aspect of reflection is honesty. You need to be truthful with yourself. It is easy to ignore mistakes or justify poor decisions, but real growth requires accepting reality. This may feel uncomfortable, but it leads to improvement. Reflection is not about criticizing yourself. It is about understanding yourself. It is about learning and growing. Another important point is balance. While reflection is useful, overthinking is not. Reflection is focused and constructive. It leads to clarity and action. Overthinking is repetitive and unproductive. It leads to confusion and stress. The goal is to learn from your experiences, not to get stuck in them. Over time, the habit of reflection strengthens your decision-making. You become more aware of your choices. You learn from past experiences. You avoid repeating the same mistakes. This creates steady progress. Your actions become more intentional. Your direction becomes clearer in the long run. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without it, experiences remain just events. With it, they become lessons, and those lessons guide you toward a better future. Ninth habit, the habit of helping others. Life is not only about personal success, it is also about connection and contribution. The habit of helping others rewires your mindset in ways that personal effort alone cannot. When you help someone else, you shift your focus from yourself to the needs and well-being of others. This shift has profound psychological effects. It builds empathy. It strengthens perspective. It creates a sense of purpose beyond your own goals. Many people think helping others is only for those with extra resources, but helping does not require wealth or status. It can be as simple as giving time, sharing knowledge, listening, or offering encouragements. Small acts consistently performed have a powerful impact. Real-life example. A young woman named Fatima noticed children in her neighborhood struggling with basic education. She decided to start teaching a few hours each week. At first she expected nothing in return. It was just a small effort to make a difference. Time she saw the children improving. They became more confident and curious. This experience also changed her. She developed patience, clarity, and a sense of purpose. Her confidence grew, her ability to communicate and lead improved eventually. She was able to create a small educational program and turn her efforts into a career helping others. Also shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. When you focus only on yourself, it is easy to feel limited and competitive. When you contribute to others, you realize there is more than enough opportunity. You begin to see the potential in people and situations. This mindset reduces envy and comparison. It allows you to focus on creating value rather than competing for another. Important aspect of this habit is perspective. Helping others exposes you to different life experiences. It reminds you that challenges are universal. Everyone faces struggles, and everyone can grow. This awareness builds resilience. For example, someone struggling with a difficult project may feel discouraged. Helping a peer with a similar challenge can provide insight. It may show solutions they had not considered. It also strengthens cooperation and support networks. Helping others also strengthens gratitude. When you actively contribute, you notice the resources, skills, and opportunities available to you. You see your life in context. You appreciate what you have while working to make a difference. This habit creates a cycle. You help others. You gain experience, confidence, and perspective. These qualities improve your own life and enable you to help more people over time. This mindset becomes a core part of who you are. It shifts your identity from someone who only pursues personal gain to someone who creates value and builds connection. It also builds long-term success indirectly. Many opportunities in life come through networks, relationships, and reputation. Helping others consistently builds both. People remember those who contribute. They trust them, respect them, and offer support in return. Real impact does not come from occasional acts. It comes from consistent effort. Small acts of service repeated every day rewire your brain to focus on contribution. This strengthens emotional intelligence, leadership, and resilience. Building this habit requires awareness and intentionality. By noticing where you can help today. It can be in small gestures, a word of encouragement, sharing knowledge, offering support. Consistency matters more than scale. Even small actions shape your mindset over time. In the long run, the habit of helping others transforms your perspective on life. It creates fulfillment beyond material achievement. It develops empathy, purpose, and resilience. And it builds the foundation for a mindset that is generous, confident, and growth-oriented. This habit proves that success is not only about what you achieve for yourself, it is also about the positive impact you create for others. 10th habit, the habit of patience and long-term thinking. In a world that celebrates speed and instant results, most people want success to come quickly. They look for shortcuts and immediate rewards. They become frustrated when progress is slow. This impatience is one of the biggest obstacles to rewiring your mindset. Habit of patience and long-term thinking teaches you to value steady progress over instant gratification. It allows you to work consistently toward your goals without being distracted by temporary setbacks or slow results. Patience is not passive. It is active endurance. It is the ability to continue working with focus and effort, even when the outcome is not immediately visible. Long-term thinking complements patience. It means you understand that small, consistent actions compound over time, that what you do today will shape your future, that results are rarely instant, but inevitable if you persist. Real-life example. A man named Kashif wanted to improve his financial situation. At first he could only save a small amount each month. It felt insignificant. He doubted if it would ever matter. But he remained consistent month after month. Year after year, He continued saving and learning about investments after several years. His small efforts accumulated into a significant financial foundation. His patience and long-term focus turned what seemed impossible into reality. Patience also teaches you resilience. Life often presents obstacles, delays, and failures. Without patience, these obstacles feel unbearable. With patience, they become challenges to overcome. You learn to adapt, adjust, and continue. Another aspect of this habit is delayed gratification. Many people abandon important goals for temporary comfort. They quit exercising after a few weeks, abandon learning a skill because results are slow, or give up on a dream when progress seems minimal. Long-term thinkers understand that comfort is temporary, but the benefits of consistent effort last. They prioritize meaningful actions today that will pay off in the future. For example, a student preparing for exams may feel tired or distracted. Instead of procrastinating, they focus on small, consistent study sessions. They accept that success will come gradually. This mindset not only improves results, but also builds confidence. And disciplined patience also improves decision-making. When you think long-term, you avoid impulsive choices. You consider consequences. You weigh risks and opportunities carefully. This habit is especially powerful in personal growth and relationships. Meaningful change and deep connections cannot be rushed. They require time, understanding, and consistent effort. Real-life example. A young professional named Sana wanted to become an expert in her field. At first, progress was slow and recognition seemed far away. Instead of giving up, she continued learning, practicing, and networking over years. Eventually, her patience and persistence earned her respect, promotions, and mastery in her field. Her mindset had shifted from seeking immediate validation to valuing long-term growth. Building the habit of patience and long-term thinking requires awareness and practice. It involves recognizing the value of small daily actions. It requires focusing on what you can control today instead of obsessing over immediate results. It also involves embracing uncertainty. Not every effort leads to instant success, but persistent action over time always creates opportunities. This habit transforms your mindset by teaching you to trust the process. It removes anxiety about speed. It builds confidence in your ability to achieve meaningful goals. Over time, patience and long-term thinking become a guiding principle. They help you navigate challenges, avoid distractions, and stay committed to growth. In the long run, the combination of patience, persistence, and strategic thinking rewires your mind. It replaces impulsiveness with clarity, frustration with resilience, and short-term thinking with vision. Those who cultivate this habit do not chase temporary wins. They build lasting success. They achieve personal growth. They create a life that is consistent, purposeful, and meaningful. This habit completes the foundation of a rewired mindset because true change is never instant. It is gradual, it is deliberate, and it is built on the consistent practice of small, purposeful actions over time. Conclusion: rewiring your mindset is not a dramatic event that happens overnight. It is a gradual transformation, built through consistent habits and conscious choices. The 10 habits explored in this book work together to create lasting change. Taking responsibility gives you control over your life. Controlling your thoughts allows you to focus on what truly matters. Daily discipline turns intention into action. Gratitude shifts your perspective from lack to abundance. Learning every day keeps your mind active and adaptable. Surrounding yourself with the right people strengthens your environment. Taking action despite fear moves you forward when uncertainty appears. Reflecting on your life creates clarity and insight. Helping others builds purpose, empathy, and perspective. Patience and long-term thinking ensure that your efforts compound into meaningful results. Each habit on its own is valuable, But when combined, they form a foundation for a resilient, growth-oriented, and empowered mindset. Real change is not about avoiding difficulties. It is about learning to navigate them. It is about choosing consistent effort over temporary comfort. It is about developing awareness, intention, and action in every area of life. The journey of rewiring your mindset requires courage, persistence, and patience. You will face setbacks. Old habits will try to return. You may feel stuck at times. This is normal. The difference is that once you build these habits, you have the tools to keep moving forward. You no longer depend solely on motivation. You no longer wait for the perfect conditions. You create your own path. Your thoughts, actions, and choices become aligned with growth. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop resilience when challenges arise. You learn from every experience. You become capable of creating meaningful and lasting change. The power to rewire your mindset lies within you. It is not about luck, talent, or circumstances. It is about the habits you practice every day, the mindset you cultivate every moment, the decisions you make consistently. Even when it feels hard, your life is the reflection of your mindset. As you adopt these 10 habits, you will notice gradual shifts. Small changes will compound into bigger transformations. Your perspective, confidence, and resilience will grow. Your goals will feel more attainable. Your purpose will feel clearer. This is the essence of rewiring your mind. It is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey, a continuous process of growth, learning, and improvement. Embrace these habits. Practice them daily. Be patient with yourself. And watch as your mindset transforms your life from the inside out. Because when your mind changes, your life changes. And when you commit to growth every day, there is no limit to what you can achieve within.